Here.
Councilmember Sutherland.
Here.
We need to make a motion.
I move that we approve the dismissal of Sarah
A
for her
second.
absence.
I'll second that excuse for Sarah McCarthy. How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and address the appointment of Mandy Mosier, appointed to the Planning and Zoning Board. Do I have a motion?
I move that we appoint Mandy Mosier to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Second.
How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. I'm going to close the regular council session and open the public hearing at this time for the 315 Van Horn special review. I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of special review application to establish a motor vehicle sales use located on a portion of the W1/2 West, 1/2 Northeast, 1/4 Section 7, T33 North, R79W, also known as 315 Van Horn Avenue. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, Mills Council procedures, and other applicable laws. The hearing has been set and advertised in accordance with state statutes. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council on this issue to approach the lectern and state your name for the record. Do we have a report from staff on this item? And Ms. Nelms, you're welcome to grab a chair. We're supposed to have a microphone there for you. I'm sorry.
That is okay. Megan Nelms, City Planner, and Grant Slensker has applied for a special review permit to operate a car dealership at 315 Van Horn Avenue, and per section 17.08 of the zoning regulations, motor vehicle sales requires a special review permit. And we just have 4 considerations for the permit. One, that the special review permit is granted strictly for automobile sales use. He needs to obtain his business license from the city. Only the license or the permit is limited to only 4 vehicles parked for sale on the site at any time. And 4, the special review permit would terminate upon transfer of the property or cessation of the use for the purposes of the permit, and that the permit is subject to review at any time and possible revocation for noncompliance with the terms of the permit. And other than that, staff recommends approval.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to ask if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this item. If you'd approach the lectern and state your name for the record.
I'm Grant Slensker, the one applying for it.
Hi. Do you want to talk a little bit about it, or your goals with the business?
So honestly, I am just a normal person that buys too much stuff, and I ended up getting a ticket from Wyoming Department of Transportation for acting as an unlicensed vehicle dealer. So basically, I've had a shop there at 315 Van Horn for a while that I just used for my personal storage, and I have to have, you can't have it at your primary residence, which I live out off Coal Creek. So I have that shop in Mills here and just wanted to do it there. I don't really plan on operating a car dealership. I just am trying to be legal.
Yeah, I believe the state changed it to limit it to 4, is that
2.
correct? 2. Oh, 2.
2 in 12 months.
That's very few.
Yeah.
Yes. I have a question. Do you do body paint?
I don't.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that we'll have some additional conditions when we discuss this further. I would agree with Megan, but it sounds like you've already got your business license approved for the city. But
Yep.
so with some of the recommendations I believe we have is that within the property lines that you have provided to us in your business plan, I believe it's the blue line, on the business plan, we would just ask that, per your business plan, you would identify that you're gonna only have 4 marked for sale at any time, so we would agree with that and just make sure it's no more than 4. We would ask that there's still going to be an off-street parking for our customers, so if somebody can come off of the street to,
Right.
use your business. Additionally, we ask that it does not obstruct the right-of-way, because sometimes those cars are just a little bit too far forward,
Right.
So we don't want to block anyone's view of the road. And then, as you've described in your business plan, we would just ask that you keep the business itself and the cars within the lines provided that the blue line's on your map there.
Okay,
Which it sounds like that's pretty much exactly what you said, but
right.
we have to say that out loud, so that
No
we
big
have
deal.
it in writing. I think, does council have any other questions for him?
No, as long as you follow with what you say, that's great.
Okay, yeah, I don't really even plan on having like cars parked for sale. Basically just, I have, so if I have to put it in my inventory, it has to stay there. So once like I have something ready to sell, I put it in my inventory and then I'd have to basically sell it there. I can't sell anything like off at my house or anything like that,
That makes sense.
so.
So it's more of a, like, you post it on social media and they
Yeah.
would come and look at it type situation?
Right.
Okay, not so much a drive-by.
No, I don't really, I got a normal job and don't
Yeah.
have time to
Yeah,
do that, so.
I appreciate that. All right, thank you very much, I
Yep.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask the question twice more. If there is anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this item. And for a third time, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this item? At this time, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition to this item? Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition of this item? And for a third and final time, is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to this item? Seeing no one approach the lectern after all have spoken, there being no others and no one to speak for or against this item, I now declare the public hearing closed. And we're gonna go and reopen the traditional or the regular council meeting at this time. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
How does council vote?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. And we're going to do open discussion at this time. If there's anyone in the gallery who wishes to speak in open discussion, we do ask that you approach the lectern and state your name for the record. And please be aware that we do have a 5-minute time limit on that clock. And there is only one opportunity to speak per topic. If you have another topic, you're welcome to come up again at a second point in time. And we'll go ahead and open discussion.
Mayor and council members, my name is Sabrina Kemper. I'm Community Development Director for you all. I would like to introduce, can you please stand? These are Leadership Casper. So Stephanie is a leader this year, and Carol and Brooke are classmates of our very own Alyssa, and they came to watch the meeting tonight.
Well, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Hopefully you all are enjoying the program, I hear great things about it. And this is lively as always, council. I think that kind of stuff is important. It's not only for community development, but also for the future growth of Mills as well as Casper and everyone around. It's important for all of us to come together and realize those goals.
Scott Clamp, 720 Wasatch. Well, I want to apologize for getting up out of order last meeting. Ever since you guys have moved open discussion towards the front of the meeting, anything that presents itself for the citizens, we lose the opportunity to talk to you, because the open discussion and new business was always at the, I've been coming here for 35, 40 years, people, and it's always been at the back. So anything that presents itself, we are losing the opportunity to give you our opinion on it. And then it used to be that before you'd vote on stuff, they'd ask, is there anybody in the audience that has anything to say about what you're doing, and then you'd ask the council if there's any discussion. And that sort of been took away from us. I sort of think that that's sort of what's, I know we're a city, but that's sort of what made the town of Mills real neighborly and stuff, to where we have our say and you guys listen to us. And I sort of think some of that's been took away. So I heard that do I have to leave and come back up here if I got another thing to talk about?
It's a different topic. Can I address that though real fast?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, the reason why we moved it was specifically for that reason. I felt personally that putting the open discussion after we've taken the vote restricted the community's opportunity to tell us how they felt about something and therefore inform our vote. And we also felt that it wasn't the best procedure to allow the community to participate in the discussion during our vote, if that makes sense. So we felt we would be better informed if you guys talked to us before we even discussed it.
Yeah, it just sort of leaves us in the dark until, on the vote.
So,
It used to be, like I said, it used to be that you'd sort of explain it to us and then ask if there's anything in the audience, and then you guys would talk about it and vote.
yeah.
And it's our responsibility as citizens to come down and get this agenda and see what's going on too, to help with on your side. But there's a lot of us that just come down here to, well, not really a lot, but Scott's been here a long time. But anyway, you learn. You don't learn unless you're here.
Yeah. Well, and I would also offer up the information to those who aren't regulars like yourself. A lot of this discussion takes place in the work session.
Yes.
And so that's really the best way to be involved in the discussion. Whereas here we've kind of already been informed by our staff and advisors, and so we're just looking to the community to tell us how they feel about something.
So whatever happened to new business? You just figured open discussion and new business, same thing?
New business is still on
It's
the
still on
agenda.
It's
And-
down towards, it's on
Yeah,
the
it's the
second
last
page.
thing on the
After council
agenda.
approvals,
Oh, okay. All right. Do I have to leave and come back for my next
You're
thing?
just gonna go and then
Okay,
come back.
next thing.
Your
All right,
name.
Scott Plant,
Sorry.
720 Wasatch Mills. Your park up here that you're talking about doing some stuff for veterans, I'm really interested in that. And whenever you start looking for plaques and people to buy plaques for people that have done things for Mills, I really want to get some for a few people. My dad was probably your longest running fireman, volunteer fireman, close to 50 years. Also Lions Club member about the same amount of time. Pancake Festival that's going on this week, and it was started by him and his buddies. Used to be in the Mills School, and then it went to there. And so it'd be an honor to put a plaque up there for my dad. But that being said, I can't forget my mom, because ladies auxiliaries used to run your community hall and your municipal hall, and they used to rent it out, and they used to always clean it and take care of it. And then when Noreen came in as town clerk, Noreen sort of took that away from the ladies auxiliary. But from that happening, the ladies auxiliary went away. So from the town stepping into something that was citizens doing it, we lost a pretty good organization. So we gotta be careful about stuff like that. But I think there's some good that we can do at that park. And a long time ago, and of course I got the medical things that happened to me, so I can't do it now, but years ago there was a bell and a hose cart that was down at the old fire hall. And back up on the fire hall a little bit, town was gonna demo the fire hall and all that, and put in a new community center there. And some ornery little middle skid rode a bicycle around and got close to 700 signatures to stop them. So they had to get a grant and do what they did, and we got a senior citizen center and everything out of that. And I got the vote from the council for the hose cart and the bell to be taken back to the old fire hall and stand there. It was voted. It's in the minutes somewhere. Because years ago, the bell went to a ranch and the ranch gave it back to the town. You can read that in your history book of Mills. But I got a hold of the ranch people and everything and found out the history and why they gave it back to the fire department and the town of Mills. But at that time, I offered the town if they would want to honor all the past firemen that have been firemen by engraving brick. If you set up that bell on poles like it used to be, then we'd come down as you get so many brick and lay them brick up, starting from all the way back to the beginning to the latest. And I think that's something that would be great for the guys that have been our first responders. And I can't lay the brick no more, but I can teach one of my kids to do it.
I like the idea, thank
Thanks.
you.
Hi, my name is Alexandria Mauser. So my thing that I came here for is yesterday I spoke with Kevin, who does like the trailer houses, moving into Mills and things. I own a property. It's 5348 Hanley Street, next to the new CAT building. And I would like to move my 1997 Liberty trailer house out there. It's by no means like junk. It looks really nice on the outside. Like, my whole thing is, I can see where you're coming from with like people moving old trailer houses that don't look good, like that have siding falling off, shingles not right, like junk trailer houses. Currently I have a 1950s, 60s trailer house on the property that I want to move. Remove that trailer, put my trailer there. It would essentially be almost hidden from street view, and I'm just not sure how we need to go about this. If there is a way for me to go about this, my family's owned this property since 1998. We have cars out there, we had horses out there at one point. Like, there's people that down the road are living in campers with windows broken out. Like, I'm concerned that the reason for the 20-year-old rule is not what it should be, essentially.
You can probably talk a little bit about this, but I think just on the face of this conversation, it's not so much the aesthetic look as it is the structural integrity of the facility. So as building codes evolve, we figure out that things are important, and so there's wiring and electrical panels and plumbing and whatnot that are outdated and are no longer the best suit for some of these homes. So that's some of our concern, moreover than just the visual appearance of them.
So the reason I wanted to move it out there was, one, I live on a rented lot in Casper. It's not in the best neighborhood. I don't like it. I have 800 security cameras on my house because I hate the neighborhood. Essentially, I didn't want to spend the money to have it leveled, to go through the entire thing, redo all the wiring, redo all the plumbing, redo the siding, the floors, the walls, all of it, which, I mean, it's livable now, I live in it, but that is something that we would go through, redo pretty much everything, but I don't want to spend the money to have it leveled in a place that I'm not comfortable having it permanently. So if I could move it to my property that we've owned since 1998, I would have it leveled, have everything gone through, plumbing, wiring, floors, walls, siding, pretty much everything gone through to be up to code as of now.
So you said you talked to Kevin, did you receive any permits, or did he look through it, do any inspections? Because typically,
No, he just essentially said, sorry, it's too old, there's nothing you can do, you can come to this council meeting and
Yeah, and pitch essentially, yeah. Because what we're looking at is a home that in 3 years is 30 years old, a trailer home, or mobile home. And you're talking about, you know, you'd have it inspected, but the problem here is that it would need to be inspected before we could even improve it to be moved into the city. And that means going through the wiring and seeing that everything is up to date, so it could also be an expense for you to make those changes and make them up to date, current, I should say.
The city really cannot act on a request without the inspection having actually been done. And it sounds like the inspection, that he gave you a cursory examination and indicated that if it was inspected, it would not pass for these purposes. So, I don't mean to talk out of turn, but the council doesn't really have anything it can actually act upon. The council really can't tell you you can move it on, and then it will be redone and then inspected.
Well, the problem I'm having is it was just essentially, sorry, you're SOL, when it could be inspected. I live in it currently. I mean, I'm planning on redoing the whole thing.
I think he's indicating to you that it wouldn't pass inspection, and that your remedy would be to seek an exception to the provisions requiring it to pass inspection, which to date, I don't know of the town ever doing that. And what it can't really do is allow it an exception to the inspection in anticipation that it will be done. So I don't really know that the town can act upon your request.
So essentially what he's saying is that because of the way that our rules and ordinances lie, it's already past the 20-year, which is just a straight across the board no. You could, as I'm trying to think how to clarify this, you could, so what you traditionally have to do is provide an inspection, pay for an inspection. You have to provide photos of the building and show us documentation, and then seek special.
Yeah, that's correct. So what you would actually have to do is do all the work on it beforehand, then seek the inspection and see if it passed inspection before it could be moved into the town and then granted the exception to the rule. So we can't do it this way. The town cannot act on your request.
Okay. So essentially I have to spend the money, have it leveled, to then do all of the work and then have it moved?
I'm not
Well-
sure where the leveling comes into play.
Well, if you're gonna do any work on a trailer home, you have to have it leveled or it's just gonna fall apart when you move it.
To level the trailer.
Yes.
So when we're thinking leveling, we're thinking removing a building, which is a bit different. But the short answer to your question would be yes. And so if it sounds like it's gambling, I mean, it really is, because you could engage in all of this work and then still not have it pass inspection. That would be a risk on your part. And as the mayor indicated, a big concern has to do with the electrical features of the trailers more than how they appear. But so the thing we can't do is say, if you promise to do all of these things, it's okay, because it has to be in the shape in which the town can act upon it and approve it if it gets to that point before it's moved into mills.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's super not helpful.
What I would indicate to you, I know you indicate it's not helpful, but what we get is a lot of requests where people get right up to their lot and have it, and then they think, oh, I'm okay because I'm there, and then it gets rejected. And at least you're doing the correct thing first. You're seeking to learn what you can do before you get so far and spend so much money.
I gotta ask some questions on this. Trying to learn. Scott Plant, 720 Wasatch. Being a general contractor and everything, all these years and everything that we've done, I see both sides of this, but I'd like to point out that if this young lady if Kevin would go look at the structure and I know you said special permission to do this, but if Kevin was to go look at this structure and said that, okay, this can be moved into Mills, but these things have to be done, you don't have to give her an occupancy certificate until it is done. So if she don't do it,
No.
then she has to pull it back off, right?
The way our rules currently read is it cannot be moved into the
Okay.
town until it's ready to be set.
Okay,
And we, for what it's worth, we have a lot of people attempt to,
yeah, and I've got a few of them before that was all done up in my neck of the woods that ended up having to be demoed and hauled out of there anyway. And so it's caused bad feelings, and it was bad on you guys and the people that were trying to do good. So, all right, just wanted to make sure I knew that.
Hello, my name is Harold Wall. I'm 522 Midwest Avenue. And I wanted to see if you guys could consider changing the extra pickup on the garbage rule for the Lays and the extra stuff at Lace from spring to get started to keep the neighborhood in shape. You know, now it's once a month. And you used to be able to call them and they just come out as you had bags piled up. But now you have to pile them up and wait on it.
Have we changed something in office where we can't call anymore?
I call in, I call
It's
in,
only
and,
every other Thursday, I believe.
yeah, every other Thursday. Comes out to once a month.
Thank you, I wasn't aware that, and you're right, we're doing spring pickup and whatnot and that.
Yeah, keep the neighborhood looking a little tidier instead of all these bags stacked up everywhere. You know?
I'll talk to, and Casey, I will talk to our guys there and see what we can do about, we're pretty short-staffed right now, but, you know, if we can get those in a couple extra rounds, we can pick some stuff up. I don't see why not.
Okay,
So I thank you
Yeah,
for
great.
bringing that to my attention.
Get something out in the newsletter.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, yeah. All right, no others for open discussion. We're gonna move on to ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance number 812, first reading, an ordinance amending section 9.48.010 of the Mills City Code regarding camping. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 812 on a first reading.
Second.
How does council vote?
What's the discussion?
Oh, do we wanna, do a report from staff on the clarification of, I believe we changed wording.
So what we did on this, Mayor, is there was added text just basically defining what camping is. Camping actually wasn't defined in the ordinance.
How do we define it?
So what it does is it adds some text that makes it clear that, and it's limited to a certain number of days, but it includes tent camping or camping with an RV or camping basically with a temporary structure or simply, you know, sleeping bag or whatever for that limited amount of time.
Okay.
And there's no camping, the ordinance already provided that there was a limited amount of time within the city limits, but you can't camp on city property without the city's permission. And that was already part of the ordinance.
Okay.
I think my only question with this is we had identified, I believe, I don't want to pull it up, but overnight, is there any way, do we want to, I hate to, you know, overnight, right, for someone to come back and say, I wasn't sleeping here at night, I was sleeping here during the day.
Camping during
I
the day.
was taking a nap.
Well, it's a good point, and I think that the intent of that was basically to address, I don't quite know how to put it, but to address a more than a day-long type of stay. You know, otherwise you do get people in parks and whatnot who will hang out all day, and I don't know if we want to if we want to address that.
It does say sleeping overnight in the house.
Yeah, you know, because we see what's going on in Walmart parking lot, and I know that's the case by case, but, you know, they might be there during the day and then they take off at night or vice versa. I don't know if that's specifically our issue, but I'd hate to,
We can further define it, I can take a run at further defining it.
or maybe the same address multiple days in a row or something, yeah.
For what it's worth, I know that one of the other communities in Natrona County has a problem with people coming out of Casper in the evening to reside in their parks overnight. Because Casper has a camping ordinance, and apparently they were trying to evade that.
What, do you know how their ordinance reads, where it's pushing them out like that?
How Casper's reads?
Yeah,
It's an easy thing to determine. I can take a look at it. It's a recent ordinance.
okay, I'd be curious if that's something maybe we want to put in our language as well. So we want to pass this as it is, and then,
I think passing it on a first reading and then we can address it again at the next meeting
yeah, I agree.
with some additions.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 812 on a first reading.
Second.
How does council vote? Aye.
Aye.
I,
Is there any further discussion? Motion passes. Get that backwards. Resolution number 2024-09, a resolution approving a special review permit to allow automobile sales on a portion of the W1/2 and E1/4 Section 7 T33 R79 W, also known as 315 Van Horn Avenue, City of Mills.
I move that we approve resolution number 2024-09.
Second.
Do we want to add the conditions on there? I believe I have it wrote down. And I'll say them out loud. If we'd like to add these conditions.
And they should be specifically part of the resolution.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
updated
we
them.
updated the
Okay.
resolution to do
To
that.
say that 4 cars, they're off the right of way.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That works for me. Is there any other discussion with council? How does council vote?
Aye.
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 I,
Motion passes.
That's
Council approvals,
right,
We don't need that special.
yeah.
because we've already approved that.
First reading.
So Encore catering permit for 5/9/24.
I would move that the council approve an uncorked catering permit for 5/9/24.
Now second.
Is there any discussion? How does council vote?
Aye.
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 I,
Motion passes. New business, Mountain View Baptist Church, Pearl Haynes Food Pantry. Sir, oh. Hello.
Never been called a sir. Many names, but not that. I am the manager of our food pantry, and our biggest problem is space where we have it right now. Just to give you a little bit of a for instance, our parking lot is full. We're getting more and more people coming to get food each week.
Okay.
Our problem is where our pantry is located right now, which is in the basement of our church. Now, as of last month, just to give you a little bit of it, for instance, we carried in over 17,000 pounds of food. We had, with children and adults, we had 622 people that we had given food to. And so we're looking for another place to have our food pantry. And from what I understand is that the town of Mills has purchased the Mountain View School. And I was wondering if by chance there's any way that we could come up with some way that our pantry could use a portion of the school for our pantry, or if you know of another place that we could possibly lease, rent, whatever, because we're running out of space, to say the very least.
How big was your space, did you say?
Well, we have the basement of our pantry of our church. We have 3 rooms alone that have food in it, which is dry foods. We have 7 freezers and 5 refrigerators that we put food into. As far as our frozen food, plus we also use the steps that go, it's like a outway to go into, and it's like a root cellar that we can put fruit and vegetables into so that they don't go to waste.
We might not have that specific thing. Interesting. But
I don't turn down food.
I appreciate that. Were you saying that are you interested in renting a place?
Well, if we can rent a place, if we can lease a place, I mean, we need something bigger. And we need something that has a kitchen in it. Because whenever we get food, like from over at the Rocky Mountain, I'm sorry, I have lupus, so whenever I get nervous, I lose my train of thought.
Is it the food bank or are you?
It's the food bank over there,
Oh, okay.
on Blackmore.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you know where I'm
Yes.
talking about. But anyway, we get food from there, and sometimes, like, we go through all of our food, that our fresh vegetables and fruit, to make sure that there's, nothing that's bad that we're gonna hand out to our people. And so we need a sink, we need water, so that we can utilize that to be able to clean whatever we need to go through everything. As a matter of fact, I even take food, if something's gonna go to waste and it's not gonna stay good until the next Wednesday whenever we have our pantry, I take it home, I can it, bring it back for our people.
Well, I'm just gonna.
So Mayor, just, I
Yeah,
don't
go
know, because we just recently acquired the Mountain View School, I don't know that that school would be regarded as safe for the storage of anything at the
Yeah.
present time. And we would have to assess that, so if the Mountain View School is under consideration, the town is not, we have not even taken title of it yet, and.
And I need to put you in a place where we'll have to move you again,
Right.
because our goal isn't, I think, to keep that building as it is. We haven't publicly talked about it, but but we do have a couple of options that we can look at or have you look at more
Okay.
so to see if it would work for you.
Great.
One of them being the large hall that we have.
And what hall would that be?
I don't know the address of it, but it's across from our community center, where you go and vote. It's across that parking lot there. We also technically have a library, but I believe someone's putting in an RFP, a proposal. So if you want to put in a proposal and for that as well, but I recommend looking at both of those facilities first to see if they would fit. And the reason why I say put in a proposal is because someone else is looking at the library, and so they have to submit.
And who would I submit that to?
That will get you Sabrina Kemper's information. She's our community development coordinator. So
Okay.
she can help you with all that, and we can coordinate to have you go look at those areas too and see if they would work, and then we can proceed with.
Yeah, because we're running out of space, like I say. I mean, we're cramming food in every tiny piece that we can, and I don't turn down food from anybody.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you, and if you want to, I gave Sabrina there, she'll get your information.
Okay, thank you.
And if you have any other ones.
Okay.
Right on top of my head.
Yeah, I think that was only 2. Oh, I guess that was it. All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Will we stay?
Second.
How does it
Usually
go?
wait for somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Good luck.